Okay, I believe and hope that we're live. Good evening. Welcome to Emergency Hedge. This is the show where Jessica teaches me Netrunner.
And Dave teaches me Arkham.
Jessica, are you available to just check that we are live, as I believe is the case?
Sure. Let me do that right now.
So, I've been very far away in China for a month and a bit, and so we've not been able to stream. I've not been able to play any of our lovely games, which has been a source of personal frustration. And I'm super glad to be back. Really glad to be doing this actually, and we're going to chat a bit about the huge avalanche of Arkham news that has hit everyone while I've been away. And we're going to chat a bit about the Netrunner meta, and we're going to play some games.
We are live, Dave.
Awesome! I'm so glad. So,
While
go on.
while Dave has been off trapped behind the Great Firewall, I have been squandering my free and easy internet access by not playing. And instead playing a bunch of Arkham Horror live with some friends who sadly aren't Dave, because everyone would prefer to be Dave, so it's sad for everyone. But
Please pass on my commiserations when you next see them.
I will. But yeah, so I am also a little bit out of touch with the meta.
Can I just moan a bit about the Great Firewall, because I mean it's
It's
probably the primary authoritarian internet social control mechanism in the world, and it does almost certainly affect the largest number of people in the world. And by God, it's a piece of shit. Again, really, caught in controversy here on Emergency Hedge. Authoritarianism is bad, social control is bad, the Communist Party of China, A, not communist, B, and somewhat relatedly, not nice people. Nuts to them. I tried to play some games on JNet, and it was so slow. It was really embarrassing. Some really nice people joined my games, and before I even had a chance to say hello to them in the lobby, they had got sick of my failure to respond and left. It was really galling. Yeah, one of them was Veronica. I contacted her separately to apologise. The other people, I don't know well enough to apologise, but I am now publicly apologising on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party for wrecking the nice games that we were going to have. I tried to play TTS, but some of the image files in the TTS mod are stored on Imgur, the image hosting service that presumably is considered far too seditious to be allowed to pollute the patriotism of the Chinese populace, and therefore the mod didn't work there either. So I couldn't even play TTS Arkham Horror by myself in my lonely room. So that was a bit sad.
Oh no, that's so...
I had a lovely trip, but I was also like, I'm gonna have quite a lot of free time. Like my in-laws wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to sleep at 9. I will have some free evenings, which I can fill well, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, like it sounds, not having proper internet access is my hell. Like it's
I really can't get on with it. I was moaning to some friends about this last night, and they said that sounds lovely, and I was like, not for me. Not for me. You think it's going to be lovely. You think you're going to be cut off from everything. And then you realise that your life is built around access to loads of the things that are blocked, like Google Calendar. All Google is blocked. I can't schedule anything for a month. It's really annoying because emails keep coming through. People keep coming and saying, by the way, there's a parents' evening in mid-September. It's like, I have no way of recording this. My brain can't store any of this information anymore. I've been training myself to put this stuff on a computer server and not remember it. For decades. Anyway,
I think I've been in a few situations where I have no internet access, And that's all right. I don't mind that.
Mm.
That's absolutely none is okay. But that situation where you've got just enough to remind you what you're missing
Yeah.
sounds like the nightmare.
So let's talk some Arkham news first of all.
Hmm?
3 days into my time in China, they announced the new set for Arkham. It's called, you can see it on your screens,
Feast of Hemlock.
Feast of Hemlock. I think it's The Feast of Hemlock Vale is the full title. And so, I mean, first of all, just to flag up, there's so much news that we could spend all evening talking about it, and we want to play some games, so we're not going to. And also, it's kind of old news at this stage, but by my goodness, this looks fun. It has. I think I sent you a message saying it's got Wicker Man vibes all over the shop.
Yeah.
You're going to a weird island. There's maypole dancing, sinister masks. Yeah, it's obviously a huge source of inspiration for the campaign, which I think is excellent, because I do very much enjoy the Wicker Man. I was about to say I enjoy immolating Protestant policemen, which I've never had the pleasure. Let's just leave that.
Just rip that plaster all the way off, shall we? Just pick around the edges, screaming Chinese government. Let's go for a hug. Let's go for slightly sectarian controversial statements.
I'm an equal opportunities religious policeman immolator, and I would never want anyone to think that I would allow religious persuasion to dictate which policeman I immolate in a giant wicker effigy.
Could you list some other religions of policemen you would like to burn to death for the next 20 minutes or so?
Yeah. This is high quality content. People are going to love this.
I'm loving it. I'm people.
We who else matters really when it comes down to it. Let's. What else do I want to say about this? I said we'd be brief, and I'm already just ranting on tangents. It looks amazing. There's a lot of player cards that we've seen. I mentioned the masks. I think there's a picture of a mask card here. So there's like a cycle of mask cards that look sinister and fun. I can't see it now. Never mind. But yeah, one of the things that looks really interesting about it is what they're doing with non-linearity. So the most recent campaign, the Scarlet Keys, has a geographically non-linear structure. So you can move around a map and you can go a whole load of different routes, which has been a bit marmitey. Some people have found that a bit difficult. What they appear to be doing in Hemlock Vale is very different in that the order of your scenarios, or the sort of framework ordering, is actually pretty rigid. You're going through look, here it is, Sparrow Mask. Let's see if we can get that a bit bigger. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that bad boy.
One per investigator.
Yeah.
Uses 2 offerings to replenish one of these offerings after you take 1 or more damage or horror. You can, as a fast action, spend an offering to get +2 willpower or evasion for this skill test.
Looks cool. Yeah, I haven't studied these cards enough to tell you whether I think whether the design of all of them is similar, but I just think the vibe is top notch.
Yeah, that's a powerful card.
Yeah, that is also, it's a very good effect, no doubt. But yeah, have a look at these. So it's got like a day 1, night 1 structure to it, and I think it's maybe over 3 days and nights. Yeah, 3 days and nights. But what you do each time will affect stuff further down, so it will change according to what you've previously done. So one of the things that was a bit Less good about the Scarlet Keys was that you do all of these, you can do all of these scenarios in any order, and they change a little bit, but by the nature of how the campaign's written and structured, they're more or less the same with some tweaks, whatever you've done before, because it's really massively complicated already, and the extent to which early actions can affect later actions is somewhat limited by the fact that you don't even necessarily do all of them, let alone in any particular order. But this one, you've got a bunch of characters, and some of them you can make friends with, some of them you can antagonize, and that will affect how the scenarios go. So that sounds super exciting and super cool.
It does sound.
Yeah.
Sounds very much.
We've got some new investigators. We've got some very exciting looking investigators who previously were characters in the Arkham Files universe. We've seen a lot of cards, like just a massive amount of cards. And all this stuff is coming early next year. So yeah, we finally found out that we are definitely not getting any major new content this year, but they have given us a lot of spoilers, and there'll be a spoiler season later. So that's really cool and interesting.
Yeah. I feel less affected by the lack of a new thing this year because, like, I haven't played through all the old stuff, and I suspect I'll be in the same position come this time next year. Although, as I said, I'm now running 2 concurrent campaigns, also like looking to start a third one with my son if he can.
Oh yeah. I hope.
Actually, yeah.
I hope that he gets involved. I would love to
I
play
hope
with.
he gets involved.
I'd love to play with him in the future if an opportunity presents itself, because he's a good
might
egg.
well fit him.
He's a good egg. What campaign are you running, by the way, with your friend?
So because it's his very first time playing it, because it's what his partner owns a physical copy of, we are playing, what's the like tutorial one called? I've forgotten.
Night of the Zealots.
That's the one.
Cool.
And we just we died to a 1 in 6, like we lost to a 1 in 16 chance just now on the second of the 2 scenarios. Like I'd forgotten it's actually quite hard. It's quite well balanced, our campaign.
Yeah. I mean, the campaign is much harder than it's got any right to be. It's probably not a great introductory experience because it is that harsh. And the Midnight Mask particularly is still one of the best regarded scenarios in the game, and still often recommended as a deck testing scenario because it's very, very hard. I don't know if
sorry, come.
No, I was just gonna say, if I, as a seasoned player who's been doing the game for 4+ years, got 6 cultists in Midnight Masks, by God, I would go straight on Discord and boast to everyone about it, because I never have done that, and it's really quite an incredible achievement.
We got 4.
That's really good.
And I actually, I think we did really well.
Yeah.
We got 4, but it got to midnight, which is like because we pulled a bad.
Yeah.
We got a bad pull. Like I said, it was a 1 in 16. In fact, it was a series of more than 1 in 16 in a row. I think we got we pulled the soul cultist out of the bag 6 out of 8 times or something stupid like that. Some ridiculous fluke of the odds. But of course, you tell yourself that afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not noticing the other time.
It's just random. The game doesn't really hurt me. I'm really glad for you and your friends that you've had an archetypal Arkham experience as opposed to one of these weird ones where you succeed and it's all nice.
Yeah, those. I don't think I'd have nearly as much fun with this game if I didn't sometimes get completely fucked over by it.
Yeah. Frank and Peter on Drawn to the Flame not infrequently talk about how sometimes they play together and just get battered, and then they have to go and record a podcast together after they've been just ruined by the game, and it's showing them what insignificant humans they are, which is as I've often said, it's a ludo narrative masterpiece, because it does do that, and that's very Lovecrafty. I mentioned parallel Ashcan Pete, I think, before we went. I'm not going to mention him any further. He's cool. Guitar's strong. Let me just tell you this. Actually, this is funny.
Actually, could you? Because I've been playing with Ashcan Pete in
Have
the.
you?
Yeah, that's because I was just going with like, what does my friend's partner own? I was like, this guy's got a dog. I'll play as him.
Yeah.
And I've been absolutely loving it. He's really, really fun.
Yeah.
So what was the parallel for him again?
So shall I explain the concept of parallels first?
Yeah.
So this was something that the designers hit upon during COVID, when there was a big production drought and the world shut down for a while, and they started releasing print and play parallel investigators. So these are remixes of existing investigators, and the benefit for FFG of this is that they don't have to like faff around with art and story, create a new investigator, but they do get to create mechanically a new investigator, albeit one that's got some sort of thematic harmony with its previous iteration. So you have a parallel front and back, new front and back card. You have parallel signatures, so new signatures, and you can mix and match these with the existing one. So you can have parallel front and original back, vice versa, all parallel, all original. You can have original signatures and weakness, or parallel, or both. Is that right? Maybe I'm getting a bit mixed up at that, but I don't think so. Yeah, no, they've mixed that up with a bit with Pete. It's complicated. Let's not bother with it. But Pete has a guitar. You might have seen it in his picture.
Oh, sick! Yeah.
So you can have this instead of Duke or both. Yeah, that's right. The other parallels have a different system, but this you can mix and match the signatures. And this is hilarious because it's parallel Pete is like a trap dude. He builds and I believe synergizes with the trap cards that exist in the game, and his guitar allows you to move enemies around, non-elite enemy at your location or connecting location. So let's try and get that bigger. There we go. Boom. Yeah, there he is. And you move him around, which is hilarious because basically it means that he does a bit of the old dueling banjos, and Night Gaunt's like run away screaming, going, "Oh my fucking god, what's this?" Which I just love. It's such a good picture. Or indeed he plays like "Come Hither" Night Gaunt music, and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" Da-da-da, and then blunders into a trap. Love it.
Amazing.
Love it. Anyway, that's enough about Ashcan Pete. There's never enough about Ashcan Pete. He's a good guy, and he has got the best boy. The other thing that's happened in the Avalanche is a new FAQ, which is basically a lot of additional rulings and a new taboo list.
Yeah. Ooh, you were going to tell us about the taboo. You mentioned off air that you wanted to talk about the taboo list.
Because this has been a bit controversial. They have... what did I want to say? I wanted to plug some other content actually, rather than going through it myself. If people are not very familiar with what has been done to the taboo list, Veronica has a long video on it on her channel Until the End of Time. She also has a video on all the Hemlock Vale stuff. Go check that out. Derby K on his website also has an article on the taboo list. I agree with about 70-80% of what they have said, and they've covered it in a lot more detail than I'm able to here. But the taboo list has buffed some stuff. The controversial stuff is that they have knocked some things off that maybe should have been left on. and they have. Do you remember Power Word that I'm running in my Dexter Drake deck?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
they have given that a nerf, which
Yeah.
has been controversial. Yeah, I think not everybody's been very happy with how that's been done. A lot of the other stuff's been quite sensible and right, but there have been a few things that the people have been less happy with. But I think,
So
go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say my understanding of how the taboo list was. So what the main thing I know about the taboo list, if you is that it's a cognito hazard. If you don't know about the taboo list, you don't have to know about the taboo
Yeah.
list, and therefore, like the basilisk telling people about the taboo list is like a bad thing to do to human beings. So that's the main thing I know about it. But my assumption is that like if you don't like it, you don't got to do it. Like it's not like there are. Maybe I misunderstood, and there's like a lot of competitive Arkham going on, or like is there a lot?
No, there's almost none. There are a bunch of people called the League of Extraordinary Investigators who do run through campaigns in parallel with each other and have some sort of point awarding system or some sort of scoring system for how well they've done in fulfilling certain objectives and campaigns, as I understand it. I'm on the Discord, but I'm on lots of Discords and my life is too short to follow exactly what's going on. But so there are some people who do that. You can do, like, there's a couple of scenarios where you can see how well you do in it competitively. So I mean, you might remember the car chase one from Innsmouth.
Yeah, I love that. Love that scenario.
Horror and High Gear. So that I like the Mythos Busters had an Arkham Con. What did they call it? BusterCon. The start of the summer, and one of the events was a Horror and High Gear competitive thing where you just keep driving on the road and see how far you can get before they catch you up on their motorbikes and ruin your day. Quite some way, it would seem. I believe the first time they ran it, they didn't make it hard enough, and people just kept going. Never, the fish people never caught them on their motorbikes and were sad. But yeah, you're largely correct. It isn't a competitive game, it's by design. The list of taboos are optional, but you are supposed to follow them in full.
So it's all or nothing.
Supposedly, you could mix and match them.
Okay.
But yeah, I have some thoughts about this. But I would like to talk to you first about the Netrunner meta, and then maybe I'll talk about my thoughts about the taboo list, because I think there's an interesting conversation that spans them both, actually.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm out of the meta. I went away like 3 days after they fully dropped the full set, and it was available on JNet. I think it was available like 2 nights before I went, but I was packing and doing work, so didn't get a chance to play with them. How's it been for you?
So I'm struggling now to work out how long we've had the new cards for. But I had a tournament not very long after the new cards were printed. I didn't do terribly well in it due to a few factors, one of which was just like I had multiple games early in the day go to time, and I was just like, yeah, I can't do this amount of net running. Like I dropped after the third round because I was like, yeah, I can't keep doing this today. That was also partly because like a judge's decision went against me, and I was like, okay, that's enough for me now.
Yeah.
But another thing I discovered on that day is so somehow in my testing, I'd not really run into Hermes. Up until that day, I'd like barely played against it, and I thought it was going to be like a card, but like when you need to think about that much. The meta is dominated by Hermes at the moment, to the extent that like you don't, at least when I was playing it a couple of weeks ago, you don't really see another console. And it's not. I don't think it's hard to play against. I just don't enjoy the kind of play it makes you do. It makes you have to slow down a lot as a corporation.
Yeah.
And you have to slow down specifically because every single move that you make, hang on, every single move that you make, you have to consider what would happen if this move got undone in a minute when an agenda gets scored or stolen. How
Yeah.
bad would it be if X part of my board state got undone?
Yeah.
And I don't like thinking about every single move I make as a maybe. I like making decisive moves that change the state of the game. And I know are going to be there for a while without my opponent doing something dramatic. And it's unavoidable. Like, that is unavoidable because with very, very, very few exceptions, like there are a couple of cards that make what I'm about to say untrue. You cannot finish a game with Netrunner without scoring or stealing agendas. That is, of course, not entirely true. You could just kill the runner, or you could use Lady Liberty to put agendas in your score area without scoring them. Dave, I'm getting quite a bit of interference from your end.
Okay. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. It was happening earlier, and then it stopped for a bit, and now it's happening again.
I thought it was my phone before, and I've moved it.
That does seem to be a bit better.
Okay, I might put it on.
Not much.
I'll put it on airplane mode.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah. Carry on.
So what was I saying?
You were saying that you kind of have to score agendas to.
You have to score agendas to win a game. Yeah. And maybe it's just like I've gotten very used to those kinds of scoring patterns of like install advance, hostile takeover, score a hostile takeover. Suddenly you have to think, actually, if I do that, are they going to take away the one bit of ice I've got in such and such a place? And it can be game losingly bad. I dislike this card to the point that it's stopped me from playing the game, and like it's quite sad that that's happened. But like, I really, really tried with it. Like I said, I don't think it's actually that hard what the card's asking you to do. It's like I've described it elsewhere as almost like a Simon Says mechanic. Like, it feels, when I lose to it, it feels like when you're playing the game Simon Says and someone goes, rub your stomach and pat your head, and you do rub your stomach and pat your head, you do the difficult part, but you forgot to check whether they said Simon Says, and so you lose the game because you forgot to do something relatively small and trivial.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel good to say Simon Says because you feel like you're not the master of your own destiny when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of thoughts about why. I've spoken to a lot of people who have similar experiences. I've spoken to a lot of people who are like, "Oh no, it's absolutely fine. I love the way that this game, like, this card makes you play on both sides of the board," and it's like, cool, for those people, that's great. I always think it's a little bit problematic when a card becomes completely ubiquitous. And I've seen this card in every faction, in every idea I played against. Like, and when a card's annoying you and you're like, oh good, it's such and such a runner ID. At least I won't have to face it this turn, and then they put it down on turn 3, you're like, okay, this feels great. But yeah, I think a big part of it is obviously the designers have to make design decisions. And a design decision I feel has been made with this card is that this feels like a spike card. Like, it feels like it's saying to people, can you kind of relearn how to play this game? Not necessarily in a way that's more complex, just in a way that's different in time for your like big competition. And that's a very like spike thing to do. It's also like it's sorry, kind of turned every game of Netrunner into Hermes Netrunner.
Mm.
And if you're not a spike player and you want to like express your creativity, that's a little bit frustrating because it's like, oh, you can't do that. You have to play around this card instead.
Yeah.
It's I'll stop whinging now.
No, that's fine. I think it's our channel. We'll whinge if you want to. Yeah, I mean it sounds like you have spent the last couple of weeks in a similar place to where we both at somewhat different times got to with startup and endurance being in startup.
Yeah.
I was happy to hear the NSG podcast with Lost Geek that came out recently, and I've finally been able to listen to because I could download it. But yeah, that he was talking about balance and balance in startup and the disgusting behemoth that is endurance squatting over that meta and what a shame it is. And I like it's good that something's been done about it. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with Hermes. I'm interested to see whether it is as ubiquitous now as it was 2 weeks ago.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I thought was quite interesting, like I sort of reflecting on listening to that podcast and also the disquiet there's been about the taboo list. It was just like, what, you know, this maybe isn't completely applicable to Netrunner, but one of the things that sort of struck me with the taboo list is that it's trying to do several different things, or people want to do several different things with it. Like, so you were saying it's optional, which is absolutely true, but some people want it to be offering as balanced a game experience as possible for people who want to play in an optimized way. So there are some people in the Arkham community for whom it's antithetical to how they want to play to choose not to play the most powerful cards.
Yeah.
So if there's a really powerful card out there and the taboo list hasn't nerfed it enough that it's no longer the most powerful card out there, they're like, I don't, you know, why would I not play it? What's the point in making an Arkham deck without the best cards in it? That's not how I play. But that's the thing. So, you know, some people are looking for it to shake up the meta a bit. So I said that some stuff's gone off it that I don't think should happen. A lot of people have said it shouldn't have. My understanding is that the reason for that is that those cards have been on it for a long time. They don't want to have a list that just increases in length every time they do stuff to it. So like, let's knock these things off. They've been on for a long time. Everyone knows they're a bit powerful. Let's put some new stuff on there. You know, there's other people who want the list to be a sort of curated balance errata for the entire card pool, so that stuff gets tweaked until it's the right level, and then it stays on the list forever without stuff getting changed. There's considerations about people's memory, and these desires for what the list does are not all in harmony at all.
Absolutely.
And that is tricky. Like I think some of those desires requirements for the list align with these player types that people talk about, spikes and what have you.
Like the issue that you articulated with, like, well, of course I'm going to play the best cards. That's a very Spike thing. Like, we were talking about endurance. I consciously refused to play endurance, including in competitive events. I considered it to be bad for the game, and like that's the opposite of like a Spike move.
I think I've said I came to my unhappiness with it because I played a game with somebody who was a bit less experienced than me. Imagine the thought. But I was playing endurance against them, and I was apologising to them for it. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this isn't a fun experience for either of us. Let's not do it again."
Yeah. I'll be very curious when we do play some Netrunner in a minute, what you think of the experience of playing against this card.
I think I'll probably hate it. It's really funny to me. Well, we've said this offline. I discounted this card because I undervalue effects that trigger off agenda stealing and scoring because they only happen a few times a game. So when I was looking at all of the autonomer initiative cards, I was like, oh, that doesn't look very interesting. How often is that going to happen? That was like Dague, wasn't it?
Right.
That was my thought process. Obviously, what the hell do I know? But I think it's quite funny.
I'm tempted to put a deck in your hand that is entirely set up around it, and where you'll probably see it, and see if you at least enjoy playing with it. Isn't too bad. It feels a bit unfair, but it's not as boring as endurance, where you've deleted all of the ice off the board, and then you're like, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
It's kind of game over, right?
I'm not very minded to, but let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, if I play against it and really hate it, probably I should try that at some point. But it's not particularly what I want to do this evening. One more thing I should say about the to-do list that I don't think I mentioned is that they also buff some cards, and that's a good thing. Even if they don't always get it right the first time in terms of the buff, which is sometimes the case. It's really nice to see slightly sad overlooked cards getting their time to shine. Love it.
Yeah. I don't think NSG has got the resources in the slightest, but I'd love it if something like this every month or two for Netrunner. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's an unfair ask for a group of people who seem terminally overworked already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing basically everything that you do. Could you do it 6 times as much?
Dance, monkey, dance. Go.
Yeah. Still no pay. No pay. Just endless whinging from people like me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess the other point I want to make is this stuff is hard. Even if they, as I haven't played against the card at all, I have no reason to doubt your assessment that that Hermes is not in the right place. This is a hard thing to do. FFG, which is on paper a money-making and professional company, I think do not always get this right as well, because it's difficult, and also because as I was saying, you're trying to fulfill several different criteria, some of which are actively pulling in different directions. It's a tricky one.
Some people seem to love it.
The card.
Yeah, some people absolutely seem to think it's the best thing. I mean, it's a near print of an ability that was on an ID
that got banned.
Did
it get banned?
That got banned.
Yeah,
it did get banned. It's, without meaning to bitch about it more, it's widely considered to be one of the most broken cards ever printed in Netrunner. So perhaps it's not that surprising that it turns out to have been a ubiquitous card. Broken otherwise. I'm trying not to make my argument around this card is broken, because the counter argument that's been made is that it's not breaking the game at the top levels, which is what they balance for. And I'm happy to believe that. I'm not in the top 1% of Netrunner players. I'm only in the top maybe 20%.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. So the argument I'm trying to make is I think for a lot of players it's not a fun card.
Yeah.
But they're not balancing around fun. So
that
makes it tricky.
I having listened to podcasts, that's not the case. One of their guidelines long-standing guidelines has been to diminish negative player experience. They have moved that a bit away from the foreground because they found that other criteria had the effect of diminishing negative player experience whilst being a bit more precise. Is my understanding of what was said. But that's absolutely something they're supposed
That
to
makes
balance
sense.
around. And
Like,
I mean, playing devil's advocate as well.
yeah,
All of the previous episodes of the podcast, the NSG official podcast, have been about how important it is to onboard people to swell the ranks of top level play, because that's really important for the health of the game long term. So they do need to balance the game for it to be fun for everyone. that's really important.
I strongly suspect I wouldn't have nearly as big an issue with Hermes if I'd never played the game before. If I was coming to the game now, I think I wouldn't be whinging about it in the way that I am. I think part of the problem is it's like moving from, I said this to someone who doesn't drive, moving from driving an automatic car to a manual car is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, it's not impossible to do. You're just having to like rejig your brain, and not necessarily rejig your brain to do something that is like fun and intuitive.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've been dismissive of Poltergeist on the stream before, because I think that the way that you mitigate playing against that ID is not a fun way to play, in my experience.
Yeah, just don't run.
Yeah, which is like a net, not runner. Anyway, let's see how we go with this. I'm interested to see if I concur with your opinion. I mean, for me, what's also going in the background for me is that we kind of went through this process with endurance. You know, you playing a lot more than me several months before I did, tired of the card, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm really sure. So
Yeah.
we'll see if that happens again.
I would, for a number of reasons, I would love for you to turn around and go, "You're full of shit, Jessica. Like, this card's great. I'm having a really good time with it."
Me too.
Because,
I'd like to do that.
The more motivation I have to just get over myself and try and enjoy, like, to stop worrying and love the bomb, you know, like,
Yeah.
the sooner I do that, the more I'll play the game, and probably the better time I'll have in Spain in just over a month. But like,
this is the best school I've ever been to, and the headmaster is a genius. Is that the line?
it's from the Demon Headmaster.
This is from the Demon Headmaster. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, what would I like? I would like to play some Netrunner today. I have a sort of suggestion for a thing that we could do. In that, whilst I couldn't play any, I could access Netrunner DB, and I did play around making some decks because I wanted to. But these decks are probably very bad. These are the first ever standard decks I've made. I was scrolling on my phone through lists of FFG releases. This one here has got buffer drive in it. I know everyone hates on that card. I don't care.
It's got 3 of them. It's got 3 buffer drives in it.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I'm not ashamed. Here I am broadcasting on YouTube. Anyway, I at some point we'll have a play around with these and see if I think they're any good. We could do that together on the stream. We could do something else on the stream.
Sure. I would be very so like, I in my JNet have got a load of meta decks basically that I can send over to you. Meta decks of one kind or another. Because I was trying to learn the meta before I stormed off in a huff. They are. This is going to sound bitchy, but I'm just going to say it. The meta decks look very different from your decks, Dave.
I bet they do.
But for that very reason, I think it would be really interesting to try a bit of your outsider art, like, kind of like not even having dipped your toe in. I think this would be fun stuff. and a
I mean,
bit
it's
of like
what
this
one of
is
these
what the
decks
meta
is a Mercury deck with a penny shaver console. Like this is how far from the meta we are. We're like, we've gone rogue here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've not played a single Mercury game yet. I should make a Mercury deck at some point. Like I played a lot of Arasana. Hang on. I think I might have exclusively played Arasana.
I can believe that to be the case. Yeah, that if I had, I promise you that if I had to make a prediction about your Netrunner play in my absence, that
Yeah.
probably would have been it.
And like, I think the amount of Arasana I've been playing is evidence that I don't mind learning a new playstyle. It's very different to how I usually play. And I've been like, it's also like super, like the decision trees go absolutely wild a lot of the time because there's like 15 different things you can do at every juncture, and like it's really easy to screw it up and like miss little bits of value here and there. And I'm much more used to playing as an anarch and being like, destroy, just screw it all, I'll blow it all up. But like anarch's not very strong at the moment. Shaper is quite strong. Actually, no, that's not true. Anarch's plenty strong at the moment. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not as strong as it was in a few keywords. Anyway.
Yeah. I haven't built an Arasana deck because it scared me. And I don't think my
I haven't built a good one.
Yeah. I would be interested in playing an Arasana meta deck. But I'd be interested in playing any of those. So look, shall I just say what I've got? So there's a Loup deck. This is the one with the buffer drive, running Audrey V2, and Carnivore. And the idea being that the buffer drives mean that you're discarding cards, but you're just looping them into your deck.
Okay.
That's the idea. You've got Miss Bones, you've got a single Paladin, you've got the Twinning, you've got Scrubber. There is Botulus in there and Poison Vial. Solidarity Badge, Stillskin Scarring and Strike Fund, so that trashing stuff is kind of good. Some rejigs for, I think, resetting the Poison Vials, if I remember rightly.
Resetting the imps and the botuli, I would assume.
Yeah, maybe any of them. Yeah.
It looks fun.
I hope it's fun. I mean, of all the ones, this is the one that I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with this. It's gonna be a blast. Who knows if it's good? I'm interested to find out.
My brain is full of like, I think it would be better if they've changed this, but like, yeah. I'm not even going to say any of it out loud because all of it is ways to make the deck more good but less interesting.
Yeah.
So I think just like I would say straight off, like Carnivore is almost, if you wanted this to be a better deck, you would swap it out for almost any other console. But like, I want it to be good so much, and it's just not.
Yeah.
So I would like us to try it. Like, if it does its thing once, I'll be really happy.
Yeah.
But it should be like, it should be free. It should be $0 to install Carnivore, and then I think it would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. The Mercury deck, as previously stated, with Penny Shaver as the console. I think I'm just trying to pass everything here. It's basically the idea, bypassing everything. So what have we got? Some backstitching. Yeah. Is that a bypass? I'm so sorry. This is like literally a month ago that I did these, and I haven't thought about them since because I've not been able to play them. Abnail, After Image, and Kurupira are all bypass effects, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. And then you've got decent enough stealth stuff.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of de-resing. So we've got a single tranquilizer there, and what have we got? Forged activation orders, which isn't really de-resing, is it? But emergency shutdown is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a mix of derezzing and bypassing.
Where does your heart lead you, Dave? Because I think we should pick one of these, maybe slightly tinker with it, and then get into a game sooner or later.
Let's try the Loup one. The other two decks are both HB decks, which are kind of iterations of that weird Nano Civic stuff that I was doing last year.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the bastard child of it that's trying to use Zato City Grid in more or less the same way. So like throwing core damage at the runner's head. It's got salvo testing in there and Dupe Stack Grid.
Yeah.
And there's an Asa one that is about Stegadon and various other pieces of ice that do nasty things when they get rezzed. So they've got 3 pings in there. Does Tattoo Bowler do anything cool when it's rezzed? No, that's the only one that doesn't.
No, but you can return it to hand.
An enemy, which hopefully is your coup de grace. Wave, Magnet, Echo. Yeah, so like most of the ice on there does something cool when it's rezzed, and the idea is just.
I think that looks quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, interesting is absolutely what I'm going for here.
I think let's jump straight into playing with Loup.
Yeah, let's.
I could almost certainly tinker and cut a couple of cards here and there, but like my great belief is that time is almost always better spent playing a game or two with a deck rather than like.
That's my expectation. All of
that
these,
will tell you.
Yeah, are slightly larger than they should be because I thought there's no point in trimming them down to 40 cards when they haven't been played with. Cool. Let's try Lou. See what happens.
Have you got Fermenter in this deck, Dave? I don't think you did. Have you got?
I'll probably cut it.
Have you got any econ whatsoever in this deck?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, let's have a look. Well, I've got Miss Bones, obviously. I've got Scrubber. I've got 3 Strike Funds.
Yeah.
And that's it. Is that literally it?
That is literally it.
Should we do some changes before we start playing?
I feel like we might have a less frustrating experience.
Yeah,
if the deck
I mean,
has,
broken economy is not a fun or particularly enlightening play experience, is it?
No, I'm afraid it's not. I think you can live with 1 Carnivore. I think Contaminate is doing less. I don't think Contaminate is doing much for you in a deck that doesn't have Fermenter in it. So I would lose a Carnivore on both Contaminates and put 3 Fermenters in. I hate to be this bitch, but you've not got Sure Gamble in your deck.
That's true.
That might be a nice way of getting some extra money.
This really is my first deck building, isn't it? I did have these cards in and cut them out, and my expectation wasn't that I would play with them on YouTube, as I'd play them in in the presence of my in-laws' house, far away, with nobody to see my shame, and then I would decide whether or not it had enough economy.
It's not a given. Like, I feel we should explain to people at home. Sure Gamble is a card that if you have 5 credits, you can play Sure Gamble, and it will get you 9 credits. That's a net of 4 credits, assuming that you don't have any.
Oh my. Okay, that's that and Fermenter, right?
Fermenter or Liberated Account. Like, they're both in faction, and they're both like Fermenter's broken. Liberated Account is just extremely good.
Yeah, I consider both of these. I'm sure Fermenter, I didn't want to compete for the for memory.
Like you're almost at the no. I'm not going to like recommend that you.
I mean,
change your
contaminate there is there to add counters to leech. That's the reason it's there.
Yeah. Sure. Like. So I'd make Carnivore a 2R. Like you want to see your console, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. But you think kill contaminate?
Remind me exactly what it does.
Place 3 virus counters on an installed runner card with no hosted virus counters. So an empty imp doesn't trash itself when it's empty. An empty imp can get 3 more uses. And
I don't think it's doing enough else. Like it doesn't work for Botulus. It does work for Leech, but it doesn't work for Fermenter. I guess it works if no, it doesn't even work if the corp has just purge virus tokens, unless it's because you've hit my virus. So like it works. You're right that it works as like 2 extra imps, but I don't think that the 2 extra quite situational imps.
what? Sorry, what? I don't understand why they're quite situational.
Because you have to already have an empty imp on the table, so it's not like if you draw that in your opening hand and don't have an imp, it's not an imp.
Yeah.
Or if you draw that and an imp in your opening hand, it's not an imp for another 2 turns. Like there are lots of situations in which it's just a dead draw. There is an argument here that Cookbook is better than Contaminate, but like we're just trying to cut the deck slots completely.
Okay, they're gone.
46. If we can get to 44, I think we'll be good. Like we just want to go in and have fun, right?
Yeah.
Friday Chip's nice. Definitely keep Friday Chip.
Yeah, I like the look of that.
Could you, like, if we're just trying to have more fun, I say cut a Mad Dash, cut a Pinhole Threading, and go. Like 44 is fine. Fine if we're just going to dick around.
I really want to play with Mad Dash. I've never played with Mad Dash before in my life.
Okay. In that case, heart.
I'm going to go for a single rejig.
Okay.
If it does anything good, that's nice.
And it's single Pinhole Threading.
Okay.
Or do you want to?
I just feel a bit sad not to use all of my influence, but I'll cut it.
That's fair. Like you can have 2 if you want. It's nothing. Like I'm not your mum. You can have as many as you want, Dave.
No, that's fine. Cool. Okay. Let's have a look. Jimducky.net.
I'm thinking about like I sometimes watch Netrunner streamers who are not us, and the amount of work they put into getting a deck down to like the minimum number of cards. Well, like they'll be vicious about it. And we're just like 44 is fine. Have 45 if you want.
Again, this is a testing deck to be trimmed. Like this is the work that we're putting in to trim it down.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And yeah, Renee. There we go. And
that's a great name as well.
I was pleased with the name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons I'm not telling you to take Buffer Drive out is because I think that's an incredible name.
Cool. That's all we need to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Okay, runner. I think that's everything.
Sick.
Now we wait. Why is JNet not giving me some decks to select? That's interesting.
That's a good question.
That's a standard legal on a deck.
Yes, it is. This is a standard game, right? You've made it standard.
I'm sure I did, but let's check. Yeah.
Like you would have by default. Like that's what's confusing.
Is this just the strangeness with JNet about which we've heard so much?
Somebody earlier today said to me JNet is broken at the moment, but they just meant it's like really laggy. So maybe that's because.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's wait till someone else joins. Why are there not more decks in your deck builder? Question.
I have just really struggled with JNet and user accounts. I don't know whether that's just me. I, at some point, made a new account to use, so I could call it Dave C, because that's the YouTube handle that I use, because I couldn't rename my account for reasons. So
okay.
Probably this is the one, the new one I made, because it's got this name. But yeah, I had all sorts of fun trying to log onto it when I was in China as well, and I still haven't really got to the bottom of what happened there. I thought I was resetting my password, and it seemed to be telling me I was resetting my password, but it never got reset. It's very odd. This is a lot of waiting.
So an interesting thing. Well, I happen to have just had a little look, and your game is not listed.
That is interesting. Wow, that will make good content.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Why would that be the case?
I've absolutely no idea. But it's just not there. There's one joinable game, and it's not yours.
Wow.
So that could be a lag issue.
I've just killed off the game, so if it's a lag issue, that's I've been impatient, and that wasn't a sensible thing to do.
But like, it shouldn't be lagging that much, you know?
I agree.
Could you do me a favor? I'm gonna set up a game.
Yeah.
And you see if you can see me.
Okay. Yes. There it is. Okay.
All right. You set up a game again.
I will. I have done so.
Yeah, I do not see you.
No. Have I so spectacularly failed in resetting my password that I can log into my account, but it's cut off from the joys of the world somehow?
I don't know. This seems to be the sort of technical problem that we only get when we're streaming. We find like new ways to create technical issues.
We should. I mean, we should be. We should be sort of JNet white hat streamers rather than Netrunner streamers. It's obviously where our skill set lies.
Yeah. Like you're definitely logged in, aren't you? You wouldn't be able to see your settings if you weren't logged in.
Yeah, no, indeed, I can see my gravatar.com avatar there that I took a lot of time to set up. That was fun. I'm slightly at a loss as to what to suggest. We could keep doing this. We could try and stream on your account.
We could try and stream on my account, but I'm wondering. I think there are a number of practical issues with doing that.
Hmm.
Not least of which is that you're in control of OBS right now.
Yeah, yeah. We'd have to do some
Um,
screen sharing.
Yeah, like that's like if we can do it like that, that's fine. I don't think I think I would need to completely reboot my computer if we were going to switch to me being in the driving seat of OBS, and we need to shut down the stream and etc. etc.
Oh, okay.
All of it is like frustrating.
Okay, how
Um,
about I set up an entirely new account with a different name and we play on that? That's probably easier than resetting your
sure.
computer, right? Um,
Yeah. Also, like, it would be nice for you to be able to play Netrunner after like a month in China. Like, has the Chinese government followed you? Is that what's happened?
I
Can you join a game?
I can try. Um, let's see. Um, I don't.
Oh, is it told you that you need to log in?
Well, I logged out to try and do what I just suggested.
Okay.
Let's. I mean, logging out and logging in again probably is a good first step. It still thinks I've got a game that I'm.
Can you select your deck? No.
No. I much though I'm not a fan of them, I don't think the Chinese government is at fault here because they're not as competent as they make out. I am not.
I mean, that's generally been my experience of governments trying to block the internet, and one way or another, it's like
Yeah.
turn on your VPN and go.
Even though we know they don't watch YouTube because it's seditious. I'm not going to confess the various things that I've done that are not approved by the Communist Party of China.
Sure.
Because
We'll talk about that later.
yeah, we'll talk about. I don't confess to crimes on stream. It's not a good OPSEC. But anyway, I don't believe they're quite competent enough to be at fault here. Let's set up a new JNet account.
I don't confess to crimes because I've never committed any.
Congratulations.
That's my story. Thank you. Never committed a single crime.
That's a deep cut, but I'm enjoying it. Let's see. Sign up.
Right.
Okay.
Do your best not to tell everyone what your password is.
I will do my best. Oh god, I don't even know how to do that. I do know how to do this. I will put our faces on here while I log in, and then I won't dox myself. Professional. Let's see if it makes a fuss about the fact that I.
Just to reiterate, you are still streaming this.
Are you sure? I'm sharing my screen with you.
No.
I'm sharing my screen with you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bit where you share your screen with me. I'm daft.
Good. This is
cool.
my obscene email address that I made when I was 15 and was new on the internet, and no one's parents ever went on there. Anyway, that's hopefully not visible to everyone on the actual stream. Let's see. Okay. There we go. We would appear to be logged in. Let's see if we can build a deck.
Yeah, it let us build one before, but it just didn't let us play with it.
We might have the opposite problem now. Okay. Right. signing up and logging in are separate processes, it would appear. Okay. There we go. And let's add some cards. Have you played with Audrey at all?
I've not. I've played against Audrey, and I do love seeing Audrey on the other side of the table because it usually means that there's some nonsense going on. And like it's just a fun, pretty card. It's like thematically interesting. Like I've realised I spent like half an hour whinging about one card today, and the shame of it is that I basically love everything about the rest of this set so much.
There's loads of cool things in it.
So many cool things in it. Is it doing the same thing to you, Dave?
It is doing the same thing to me. Oh, what have I done to deserve this? So little. Well, now.
I think it doesn't expect you to log in with a bunch of different accounts on the same computer, and maybe if you cleared your cache, it might be happier. Or it's some bug on their end and they've like broken new accounts for the time being, which is like not at all impossible.
But it wasn't a new account that we started with.
It's an account that you've set up
in May.
It's not your. Oh, in May, really? So
Yeah.
you've been playing with that for a while. I
Yeah.
don't know then.
Remarkable.
I'm really sorry. Shall we try screen sharing a game from my account?
Yes, I think we should. Do we need to kill the stream?
If we're just screen sharing it, if I'm screen sharing it to you and then you're broadcasting, then no.
Ah, okay. I reckon we can do that.
So let's try. And people can see the horrible number of tabs I've got open. This will be fun.
The only reason that I don't have a horrible number of tabs open is I have a computer that I use just for this. My normal computer has a disgusting number of tabs. In fact, it has windows, separate windows, where I've filled them up with tabs, and they're so horrible I just minimize them and then start a new window and just add more tabs.
Like, this is not the only window that I've got going on that you're about to see.
Good. That's what I'd hope for.
And it's that bad in all of them. I've been doing research today, which is.
Oh, Jessica, have you gone silent on me? Oh no. This is very unfortunate. Has that solved the issue? No, it hasn't. Wow. Okay, well, this is like a whole new adventure in technical issues. And I am just going to put on our hold music. There we go.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I could hear you fine the whole time.
Wow.
Seems like the moment I started showing my screen, it spanned it out.
I put the test card on.
Cool. Right. Could you stop sharing your screen to me?
Yes, I believe so.
Because I believe one of the problems is the bandwidth. My internet connection is not really amazing. Let's do it. All right.
Okay, let me see if I can stop doing it. The only thing it says is stop streaming, which I hope will just stop my screen share. Let's try it. Okay, good. Yeah. Slightly alarming menu items issues.
Yeah. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, just fine.
I think it was trying to. I was telling it to like stream 1400 pixels or whatever. 1400 FPS. So I was telling it to do more than it was capable of. Oh, I've immediately proved myself a liar. There are a load of non-Arasana decks in here. Right. Can you still hear me, Dave?
I can still hear you. Yeah, loud and clear.
I've lost your face, is the only thing.
Okay.
You could start your camera again, and then I think I would be able to see you.
How about now?
I don't think so. Yes, actually, yeah, you're coming back. There you are.
Awesome.
Cool. Are we? Is the test card still up or are we streaming?
The test card is still up.
Okay.
Quite possibly people can hear us over the top of it though, which is oversight.
That's useful to know. Thank you. I've definitely fallen for that one before. Maybe I'll
Okay, I think we're on the screen, and I think we should both be audible as well.
Hooray! Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us.
I hope you enjoyed the music.
Thank you to Dave for putting together our little test card.
While we were off,
So it looks like
apologies to Baramwu, who says that Contaminate is actually pretty good in Audrey decks. I appreciate both the interaction and the vindication.
well, I'm the one who's going to have to play my horrible mistake now, so we're just going to leave that the way it is, and hopefully, yes, it does seem to be working for me. I don't know why it hates you, Dave, but it does, doesn't
It's
it?
just
It
really
really
weird, isn't
hates you. Yeah. So yeah, this will be the version. If we end up doing a second round with this, maybe we'll take out Poison Vial for Contaminate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Welcome to the stream, Robo Cholo.
Welcome to the stream, buddy. Cool. Cool.
Okay, so we've got an Audrey.
What an opening hand.
We've got an Audrey, which is good.
We do.
Got a Steel Skin, which is nice.
I'm going to mulligan this.
Mad Dash we obviously don't want at the beginning. What was that card on the right?
I can't remember now, but it was Steel Skin Scarring, maybe.
I know there was another one. There was another one with like some cool net space art. Never mind, it's gone now.
It's gone now. I'm sorry. My instinct was to mulligan it because it had no econ in, but I realised that the way this deck is constructed,
the deck has no econ in, so that's probably why. Who are we playing against? Which corporation is that?
That's Hyoubu Institute. The first time each turn you reveal a card, gain a credit. I think it's a pretty interesting one, right?
That's good. We want to be playing against somebody who's playing an interesting deck because ours is quite an interesting deck. Just want to find a good place for our heads to go. Maybe that's the best place.
So let's get Audrey down.
I reckon.
Let's run server 1. Let's run R&D. And we will trash that, I think. Yeah, obviously we'll trash that.
Boom.
So we're gonna have some econ issues. We don't mind getting rid of all their spin doctors kind of easily. Okay, but we're not gonna. Right, shall we? Yeah, we've done it now.
Play Carnivore. I was about to suggest that. Yeah, that's good.
And then I'm gonna kill that buffer drive because I think it's a shit card.
Boo.
I drew another one.
Okay.
Like the economy is in shambles.
Yes.
Like to the point where we're just going to be drawing and picking for credits. Oh gosh.
So Solidarity Badge we want to get down, right? That's part of the trash engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that buffer drive should go. Well, maybe what I think doesn't matter too much if we don't have the economy for it. But I think buffer drive should go down before steel skin gets played. Or trashed, I should say. Steel skin should not get played. Steel skin should get trashed.
Yeah. We've just not got the economy for it though, Dave. Like, unless you want me to click for a credit, install buffer drive.
It is the course of action our opponent will be expecting the least. I'll say that in its favour. I mean, I have. There is some method to having almost no economy in the deck, in that we don't need economy to break anything with Audrey.
That is true.
The economy is cards.
Can I say, buffer drive benefits us in about 10 or 11 turns time, when like the last card is gone out of the deck, but actually we've been like looping through them. And right now it would take all of our money and 2 clicks, because we'd have to click for a credit to install it.
I'm not insisting on doing it.
And a card.
I'm not insisting on doing it.
Okay, I'm just going to run server 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! No, hang on.
So what's that card there? It's Envelope. Are you familiar with the subroutines on Envelope?
So it's got 2 subroutines. You don't see this card very often, to be fair. This is quite an interesting card. We're going to break both of them.
Yep.
So the 2 subroutines were do a net damage and end the run.
Yep.
So this person wants to do damage to us.
Yep.
That's fine. So we're going to steal an off-world. I think we are going to spend the rest of the turn clicking for credits. I fucked up. I should have installed Solidarity Badge this turn before.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't. I didn't do that. And now we are both paying for it.
Never mind. It's a learning experience, isn't it?
It is a learning experience. So we can get into that server. I am not currently familiar enough with the meta as it stands to know if there's something I should be... I guess I should be worried about, like, Urtica Cypher? Right?
Yes, yeah, that's a trap, isn't it?
Yeah, but, like, we won't die to Urtica Cypher. It would be annoying, but we won't die to it.
Did you trash Strike Fund instead of one of our duplicate buffer drives, Jessica? Yes, you did. Of course you did. That's what the card does. Sorry, that. Well done for doing that. I was getting confused about my cards. That was the right move. Congratulations. Oh my goodness, you've gone silent again, which is a bit unfortunate. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So the fun thing here is whether we can retrieve your audio whilst retaining the screen share. I guess Jessica decided that wasn't the case. Do you know what? I don't
I'm
think
back.
Hey, fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So let me try and share my screen again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and hope that our opponent doesn't just quit before. Okay.
No, you've gone silent again. It's really frustrating, isn't it? We've just been. Let's watch that. We've just been had slings and arrows of outrageous fortune to deal with this evening. Well, now that you are not audible and can't contradict me, I think this deck is doing better than either of us had any right to expect. That's as far as I'm prepared to go, but I'm officially going to be slightly smug about it. Oh, look at that! 4 agenda points. It's mostly to do with your piloting. I think we should establish that. That's great. So one thing that we forgot to mention on the stream is some channel news, which is we are going to be commentating on the 30th of September a tournament in Norwich. I have a feeling it's got a slightly tongue-in-cheek title, like Norfolk World Champion or something like that, but I might have made that up in my head. But it's the dudes from the Norwich Meta. It's their tournament, and I think that's going to be a blast. We do need to make sure that we don't have a thing happen during that tournament where everyone can hear me and not Jessica, because obviously one of us is going to be much more familiar with the cards than the other, and that should, if anyone's going to fall silent, it should be the one who doesn't know as much. That's my hope for the 30th of September. But I think it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. We've blocked out the day, and I will learn something, I imagine, even if I don't get to teach anything to anyone watching. Okay, so we've got a single advanced card there. They don't know that we've got a steel skin in hand, so they might assume that we cannot get into that remote server. But maybe there's a reason we can't, that I'm just not able to block on the board at the moment. Looks like grid. Several options to trash it. 3 different options to trash it. That's nice. I would be interested to know why Jessica didn't go for the server 3 now. But we can worry about that in the debrief. There's Miss Bones. Yeah, there's Friday Chip. I mean, to be honest, I do obviously defer to Baron Wu, who knows more about the game than either of us, I think, by quite some margin. But I think I do think Friday Chip can probably fulfill the same role as the other card we cut. But maybe I'm wrong. I have never played with either of them. I just stuck them both in a deck and hoped for the best. Contaminate, that's the one. Oh, look at this, like Baron Wu is just coming through with all the comments vindicating me, Jessica, and not you. Against a deck like this, I think you get the buffer drive down as soon as possible. There we go. Baron Wu, you can come back and tell Jessica that I'm right and she's wrong. This is the kind of interaction that we do look for on our channel. Thank you very much. So the fermenter's gone down. They have double iced R&D. Is that the game? Feature retrieval asset. Oh my goodness! The deck won the game! That's incredible. I did not expect this. Wow. Well, that's all right, isn't it? So can we arrange things that I can hear you talking now? Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can do something about that. That was quite. I can hear you. Yes.
Great. It doesn't like something about me sharing my screen. I don't know what it is. I have literally never had any kind of technical difficulty, like beyond the like marginal I've not plugged my headphones in with anyone when I've not had like an audience on YouTube, basically.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, when it's just me and my friends, it's always fine.
Absolutely, absolutely cursed. Like what?
I don't get it because I thought like, oh, maybe it's OBS. OBS is like causing a lot of problems, or maybe it's TTS. I'm not using either of those today, so I don't know why it's chosen to why God has forsaken me yet again.
I mean, similarly, logging on to JNet on 2 different accounts on neither of them being able to create a game that anyone else can see. What the hell? I mean, well,
but look,
tell Jessica, how was that for you? Because that was a mix. That was a mix of incomprehension and like slight massive disbelief that the deck didn't seem to be terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
I'm sure it could be better.
I'm sure it could be better. I felt like without meaning any disrespect to our opponent whatsoever, I felt like our decks were well pitched against each other. Like that, it didn't feel like I was up against the like spikiest end of the meta. And I really appreciated that. Like, I think I have a lot more fun when I'm kind of like paddling around the middle levels than I do at the very, very top end. What was it you wanted to know? You wanted to know why I didn't run the remote.
Yeah, when they scored just before they scored the offload.
Like, I could have, but I would have been gambling on the outer ice being something that didn't end the run and that I didn't care about, because I only had one token on Audrey.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's what I wasn't
So
following. Yeah.
I could have gotten through the inner ice, but I couldn't necessarily have gotten through the outer ice. And I wouldn't even say it's a meta call because I don't like that deck. Felt weird to me, like it was using a bunch of ice I never usually see. It obviously Barembu's probably right. I probably should have put Buffer Drive down against this deck, but also like
It was trying to do
there
some
aren't-
net damage, wasn't it? We had to
yeah,
Diviner in there, for example.
but I don't think like. I mean, what does viral weaponization do again? When the turn on which he scored viral weaponization ends, do 1 net damage for each card in the grip. Like maybe it is a grinder deck. It didn't like. Maybe it's a grinder deck. I think one of the things that Hermes has done, and it's one of the few things where I'd be like, "Yay, this is great," is that it's kind of killed the PE grinder decks anyway, because if in addition to doing 1 net damage with your like 2-1 or 2-0 agenda, you're also effectively losing a click. Like that's not a great exchange.
Yeah.
So like that is a positive thing for the meta, but like there is collateral damage there as well.
Yeah. Further feedback from Baramu. Contaminate helps you get in after a purge using Audrey. Friday chip doesn't. That is a very good point.
Yeah. Like as soon as you said it, Baramu, I realized that like I hadn't really been thinking about how Audrey works and it being a virus tokeny card that you can just lock out completely. Kind of like Amakua almost in that way. Like you can lock it out, but maybe even more effectively. It's a fun card to play with. Like,
I mean, in our defense, literally neither of us have ever played with it before.
Yeah.
I made a deck with it a month ago. not thought about it very much since.
That was fun, Netrunner. I enjoyed that game.
Good.
Sadly, Runner side isn't the side I've been having a problem with. Otherwise, I'd be like, we're back, baby. But like, Corp side is the side that's been doing my head in, and I'm not sure about trying to play a Corp side game tonight on top of the technical issues that we seem to be persistently having.
I agree. Also in mind, I have that my partner has a job interview tomorrow, and I said I would do a bit more prep with her before we go to sleep.
Yeah.
Cool. I would be up for maybe like having a little tinker with the deck and possibly trying to jam through another game because you play pretty fast.
Okay.
But if you have gumption for that.
Yeah, I just think that I'm likely to lose sound again. But we'll see what happens.
Well, how about I try spectating on JNet? And we'll have the thing where I can't see what's in your hand.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But you might be able to tell me and tell me some other things that are going on. That might be a better way to approach it.
Let's do that.
Cool.
Okay, well, I'm going to lose Poison Vial.
Hang on. Yeah, that said, there's not a good way for us to both be looking at Netrunner DB, is there? Unless I share that with you. Let's give that a whirl.
We might get away with like 5 minutes of it, mightn't we? Or I can just tell people what I'm doing. Like it's going to be very, very quick.
Tell us what you're doing. I will do it on the screen here, so that I can follow it along and you can as well.
Mad Dash is in here because you wanted to play with it. I am not as excited about playing with it. I want an extra Botulus in this deck. I want an extra Fermenter in this deck. Carnivore is fine at 2. We'll keep Buffer Drive at 3 just because
I'm literally Jessica, just slow down. Literally at the moment, I'm just trying to get OBS to show Firefox, which I hope I have done. Oh no, I need to. Yeah. Okay, we're good. So you wanted to kill Poison Vial.
Yes.
Fine. Both copies?
Yeah, both copies.
Yep, okay.
And put in a Botulus and a Fermenter instead.
Yep.
I'm going to lose Ice Cover.
Okay, yep, sure.
I'm not going to lose Leech, so I don't want to lose both of those things.
Can I put some Contaminate back in?
Yes, please do. That's what we're here for. Let's have 2 of them, I think.
Why can't I spell Contaminate?
I went down to 1 copy of the Twinning.
Okay. Are you sure that is the only multi-access in here?
Yeah, but 1 copy of the only multi-access is fine in
Okay.
a deck that's drawing quite quickly.
Okay, yeah. That does make sense.
As long as I don't trash it by accident, which, you know, I might.
Mm-hmm. So like, we're at 43 now. Mad Dash, you wanted to get rid of 42.
Yeah. So I'm also at 42, and I think like 42 is probably it, right? Like,
I think that's respectable for a second go with it.
A second attempt. Like, there are things that could go. Like, there are a couple of one-offs there, which I'm not sure justify being one-offs, but I'm happy to make it like that. Cool.
You don't want to splash the 5 influence on anything?
Oh, now you're tempting me, though.
That is partly my role.
But on what is the question, right? Like, most of the really like good all-purpose stuff is in faction.
Yeah.
Like, liberated accounts in faction. Like, if anything,
I will just say, I mean, the main reason that Poison Vial was in there, and I'm not necessarily imploring you to put it back in there, is that Audrey gets strength, and the other card you cut gets strength in increments of 3, and it's a bit nasty to have to, I thought,
break something
to have to trash an additional card to get to strength 4.
Yeah.
I'm
for
getting
whatever reason, I've never liked Poison Vial. Like, I've kept Leech in there because I completely recognise that, like, sometimes you want to do that.
I'm getting my 2 halves of the card confused. Yeah, it's just about the third subroutine was the Poison Vial is what I was thinking, not the strength.
I feel like
Leech is what I was thinking with the strength.
Yeah, Leech we've still got in there.
Yeah.
I like these Contaminates. They're decent. We've got a Paladin Palamu, haven't we?
We do have a Paladin Palamu, yeah.
Sure. Okay, let's play it like this.
Cool.
Or maybe I'd like drop in a couple. Do we want a Dirty Laundry? Probably not. I'm gonna put in 1 Liberator. I'm gonna put in 2 Liberator accounts. I think it will make the deck a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
Or not consistent, or make it a lot less broke. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. What's our show called? Emergency Hedge. You can tell I used to be a professional. What's our show called?
It has been a month.
Emergency Hedge is streaming live. Okay.
Oh god, it's really going to confuse people if I spectate our Emergency Hedge match from an account called Emergency Hedge, isn't it?
I think people will be fine. I think people people live through the pandemic. They can live through this. That's what I reckon. They're going to be okay.
We'll see. I'm not going to tempt the Inception gods by doing that.
Okay, fine. Now we play the waiting game. Hopefully less fun than the actual game we're about to play. I think I'll be real with you. I think a lot of our technical issues come from the fact that I am streaming off a crappy little laptop that was chosen mainly based on affordability rather than other criteria. I can imagine my ideal streaming setup, and it is not a single crappy little laptop. It's something else.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that when I had more money than sense, I bought an old gaming laptop that has enough oomph to do this. We got a person.
Hey.
Awesome. Did I correctly summarise the situation with our commentating on the 30th? Anything you'd like to add?
I believe so. Yes.
Do you remember what the tournament was entitled? Is it King of Norfolk?
I do.
It's not, is it? It's not King of Norfolk. That's not true.
That rings a bell.
Is it Norfolk Championships? Is that what they call it?
Something like that. I don't remember is the answer to your question.
Okay.
That's
fine. It is on the 30th. It'll be cool. We will be streaming several times between now and then, and we will furnish our audience with proper details of where and how and when the tournament can be observed and listened to.
I'm going to keep this.
I don't know what it is. Tell us.
It's a pinhole threading, an Audrey, a liberated account, contaminate, and a short gamble. I don't like the lack of draw. I don't like the lack of a decent engine. But yeah, so I'm going to go short gamble, liberated for my first turn.
Yeah.
Because that way they don't have stuff that's rezzed and they can't ob. Okay, but they've solved their economy issue, which is a bit of a shame.
Ice and server 1. And then a pause for dramatic tension.
And it was a pause of, oh, I've ordered this turn incorrectly, and that's why they've so we have an issue that we can't get into any server at the moment.
Because
well, I mean, as far as we know, we can't get into any server. There's no uniced server. This doesn't look to be an asset list.
There's not an Audrey. Does Audrey not come in with counters?
Oh, it doesn't, but actually we could use contaminate, but obviously I don't think we want to do that right now. I think we put Friday chip down. So sorry, I've been drawing and not saying what I've been drawing. I drew a Friday chip, a Mist Bones, and a Botulus.
Yeah.
I think we put Friday chip down. End our turn. They don't know that we can get into their server if they do what they've just done, which is to...
What have they just done, sorry?
They've just installed 2 cards and advanced one of them. So, what I think we should do is we should install Audrey. We should pinhole threading the remote through archives.
Gotcha. And that's how we can trash things. Yeah, gotcha. Trashing the Managarm. Getting a virus counter from Audrey. And then run back again for the other card, the advanced card?
Yeah. And just hope that, okay, it's a border control.
Which is okay, right? Audrey gets the 3 once, and then they can either get rid of it, in which case we can go back again, or they can't.
We can't go back again because they're going to replace it with a different bit of ice.
Because they're going to replace bloody ob, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they are.
I'm just thinking, I don't think there's anything else we can do.
Bounce into it, isn't it? Maybe go into... Do we have any other way of trashing cards? Maybe running into R&D and then hoping to trash the thing on the top of it, putting a counter on Friday Chip and another one on Audrey is the ideal, right?
Yeah, but we've only got 1 click left is the problem. The question is, I think I let them replace it with a magnet or whatever. I think I make them do it, right? I think I make them trash ob for an ob trigger.
Yeah, makes sense.
At least cost them a credit.
So an Afshar's gone on there.
Yeah,
which we can go through next turn, but they will score this presumed agenda in server 1 in the meantime.
Yep, and it's probably an off-world, which makes life very difficult.
Mm.
Okay, it's an Atlas, which makes life less difficult.
Yeah. So, what's in hand, Jessica?
A Botulus, a Mistbones, and a Contaminate.
Mm-hmm. So the Botulus should go on the Afshar at a time when they think they're safe to put something in server 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I wish we had a carnivore down.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, imp would obviously be better. But
I'm going to leave that Christian grid that I just saw there.
Yeah. What card did you see on R&D?
Wall to Wall.
Okay.
Which I will trash. Like, I'm putting them in a position where and I've Rashid Shaheem, which I will trash.
Absolutely.
So, they now do kind of need to purge. They've probably got the ability to go and get a virus with their Atlas counter, but they will have to show it to us when they do that. And so we'll know that's what they've done.
Yeah. No, was that just one ice and clicking for credits? What are they saving up for? Hedge fund, probably. Maybe.
They... Yeah, potentially hedge fund. Potentially they've got... The fact they've covered archive suggests that they expect us to have another pinhole threading.
Okay, that's Stavka we need to bear in mind.
Yeah, I mean, we could break it at the moment. There's nothing, like, particularly stopping us.
We need to trash 2 cards to get up to 6, won't we? That's not actually a terrible... 7 would be extremely annoying.
I'm going to run R&D. Yeah, they've done what we were worried they would do.
Yeah.
They've Stavka half run us. Okay, yeah, they're gonna kill our Audrey.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other 2 is in the bin. So, like, this is now an extremely difficult game to win.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Oh, wait. No, it's not, because we've got Buffer Drive. Buffer Drive is about to save the day.
Does that have a second ability where you can trash it to retrieve things?
Yes.
Yes, happy days. I can't tell you how happy I am about how this deck is turning out and how my terrible decisions have have not been quite so terrible.
Okay, I'm just thinking about what we want to do. I think we want to force them to res their ice on HQ.
That makes sense. 3 credits. They don't want to, or they can't. Audacity, noted.
Oh, I've just realised what's going on, which is that they've got a former carry installed, and it's the card they've got installed on archives. And like the reason I know that is because I keep getting a little thing that says like a little like pause before I access.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's the pause that's like for
It's
them. Do you want to
former
res
window.
format?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. 8-town renovation. So Botulus on server 2?
So we can assume it's a what's the card called again? I think it's a border control, right?
That would make sense. That I think in this kind of deck is probably the best card that they can have on the remote. It's pretty ruinous for them if they have to res it, right? Afshar.
Cool. So that is ruinous for them because
You can break the subroutine.
So
Doesn't do very much.
I think we need to get buffer drive down sooner rather than later.
I feel so. Yeah. Is that in hand?
Even
Boom.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I think we've got like maybe a turn or two's grace before they start ramming stuff in the remote again.
Yeah.
Like it was a disaster me running into Stavka half run. Like this is a corp deck I wouldn't mind playing. No, I don't.
You mean you wouldn't mind playing as in it's quite a good deck, or there was another point you were moving on to? Sorry, I know it's hard to chat and think about playing at the same time.
I'm just clicking for credits.
There.
I think next turn I reinstall Audrey. Right, let's go and get Audrey. Let's install. No, let's not do anything else this turn. We've got what we need to. I don't think they will know that we've got Contaminate in hand, so they might push. They've got Audacity in hand. It's a problem for us. So we do want to find an Imp or a Carnivore sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah, at the moment we're a bit hampered by not being able to trash lots of stuff. Like as soon as we trash lots of stuff, we can draw more cards, we can get more money, we can get more virus counters.
Take your time. You're thinking. Think all you want. So I've got a Solidarity badge in hand. We are currently a bit hampered by a lack of economy.
What else is in hand? Tell me the full hand.
Solidarity badge, Botulus, Buffer Drive, Miss Bones, which is kind of an economy card, but also like not really.
Yeah.
So like they're obviously gonna get rid of their Spin Doctor. I screwed up there by not putting a token onto Audrey. Otherwise, we could have hit HQ this turn.
Oh, from Friday Chip.
Actually, what did they? Yeah, but there must, by this point, there are agendas in HQ. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that might be one of them that's just gone into server 2.
So that's not one of them. So all right, let's do that.
Yeah. Is it worth drawing to see if Imp or Carnival comes?
So our problem right now is that I suspect that's a Managarm Skunkworks, the lower of the two cards, and we don't have another pinhole to go and take it out with. So to be honest, I think whether we can get in on or not this turn is probably game winning. Like either this outer ice is a border control, or we can get in this turn just by spending clicks.
Didn't you say there was a Botulus in hand as well?
There is, but it would only get so like we can currently break 2 subroutines on this ice, and I'd love to save some money to trash the Managarm Skunkworks and still have a bit of money in hand. So I think we just run.
Okay.
Like they could stab cross again. Yeah, they could stab cross again. Now I think about it. But we could. Actually, on this board state, I don't know if they could.
Why not?
Okay, yeah, they could trash that Avshoster, but then we would get in. Is the thing.
Right.
Like
okay.
they could stab Kahafra on us, but we would get in and steal whatever it is that's face down.
Right.
And
Okay.
we've
Because
got
that front is 2, and so they need to trash a 3-coster to do it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're thinking about. They're definitely thinking. Ah. Mavaris.
Ugh.
There's the Managarm. Okay, so I'm confused. So the... Oh no, the Managarm got rezzed. Border controls got installed.
Yeah, so they're going to be on 2 credits at the end of this turn. Right, let me think about this. So we do have the Contaminate. It was such a they didn't pull that with the Atlas counter, they just found it, which is frustrating. Yeah. They found it when they needed to.
You mentioned the credits to trash Managarm, didn't you say there was a Miss Bones in hand?
Yeah, but if I do that, I can't get into the server. I kind of can't get into the server anyway. Yeah, I don't think I can get. I can't get into this server this turn.
Is there merit in making them use the border control?
Kind of. I mean, if they use it this turn, they don't get a border control trigger. Is the merit. But like, I have to get in. I can contaminate, run back. I can get in this turn trashing 2 cards, but it's brutal to do that. I'm fairly certain.
I mean, the other option is contaminate and then run HQ and hope to see another agenda.
Like, honestly, if they read something on HQ, I don't mind not getting in. Like, that's where I'm at. Things, if I run back, I can break everything, but it costs me 2 fucking cards, which is annoying. This is a matchup where I really wish we hadn't taken the Ice Carvers out. Money. If we had more money as well, that would do it.
Because
then I could just pay my way through Managum.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would help.
I'm trying to work out whether I want to run this server and force them to use board control. Yes, I do. I want it off the table.
Do they have to use
I can't actually get in, can I?
Yeah. I was just going to say, because the Managum, right? You just bounce off that.
Yeah.
Pressurizing one of the other servers, then I think is probably the best move. Yeah.
That's rough. I don't want to spend 4 trashing that. I guess maybe I'm spending, 3 in drawing 2 cards? Alright, fine.
Seamless
that's an
launch.
SDS. Okay,
It's
yeah,
another
that's
Atlas.
pretty...
2 tokens. Yeah, also.
Yeah. I'm struggling to see how we could have played this differently. Okay.
That's
Try and hit
what
the
we need.
audacity
Yeah,
at least.
that's what we need.
Like, this game's done, really, with 2 Atlas tokens. Like,
Yeah. Not carping at all, but also at this stage not having a one of multi-access. Like, if we could be certain of flushing HQ and or locking R&D, there might be a chance to pull it back.
yeah. Like, to be fair, we've gone through almost half the deck. So, like, half the time we would have seen that card already. Yeah. It's also, like... Also, it's quite hard to make it trigger.
There's nothing on our current board state that does. Agreed.
Yeah. Like, we could install...
Scrubber would have done it. What are the other ones that do it? Miss Bones. Scrubber, Miss Bones, and Paladin are the 3 cards, I think, that trigger it. If I remember the list correctly.
This has a Hush in it, this list, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure. Nope. No, it doesn't.
Oh.
What am I getting that from?
I thought it had a Hush in it. I could have sworn I saw a Hush.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I thought it did as well. Did we remove the Hush?
I wouldn't remove Hush. I love it too much.
I don't think I would dare to. I think I put it in there because I know that everyone thinks it's such a great card that it's it should be in most decks.
Like, technically, we could still win.
Yeah.
Technically.
They're going to want to purge soon, aren't they?
No, I think they just rush out from here.
Yeah.
Like, they've got their Atlas counters.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. If there's another Seamless in the deck, or God forbid 2 Seamlesses in the deck, they just need to put Agenda on the table and have it sit there for a turn. And with that, Manic Arm and Border Control on the server. Is there a way to dismantle those?
Probably.
With 2 botchless counters, right? 1 run, break the end of the run on Afshar, lose 2 credits, which is pretty annoying at this stage. Oh, there's the purge. I guess that shows they have less confidence in winning, in their chances of winning than we do.
All right, let's rejig the imp. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's run HQ. They don't want to res. Okay.
It's Sandstone. Okay.
Okay, I know why they're doing that. It's because they don't want us to have Audrey counters. So let's just...
They're doing what? Sorry, the purging? The Sandstone?
The reason they have resed Sandstone is because they don't want to give us Audrey counters.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Think about this now. They're basically trying to lock us out.
Yep.
And I don't know how to operate. I don't know how to operate this deck. Is the key of it. It needs more memory. Is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we had 1 more memory right now,
you could play another Audrey. What would be the other memory?
I could play another Botulus onto Sandstone and go in.
Of course, yeah. It needs console.
Yeah. They might well spend a turn just clicking for credits now, which is fine.
They res Sandstone and went down to 0. Is that what they did?
Yeah.
What cards do you have in hand, Jessica?
Carnivore, Paladin Playmo, Botulus, Buffer Drive, and Miss Bones. I don't completely understand what they're doing. Like, they've got They must have agendas in hand, basically.
I mean, their actions would seem to suggest otherwise. Oh no, not necessarily. Icing HQ does imply agendas in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, I don't... With 2 Atlas counters, I don't understand why they're not just trying to score out.
We can't get some Audrey counters by running archives, can we? That's not a thing that works. Can we bounce into the sandstone? Can we bounce into the... Okay.
What was your plan? Bounce into the sandstone.
Bounce into
to do what?
To weaken it.
Yeah, but the problem isn't how strong it is. The problem is that we cannot break any ice whatsoever.
Yay!
So I'm going to install Buffer Drive, which is actually turning out to be the MVP of this game.
Yeah.
After, like, it absolutely is. Yeah. I'm going to, because next turn, I'm going to go and get a contaminate Audrey, and run into HQ. Boom isn't legal anymore, and I wouldn't play it as a runner card either. But, like... Like, it's up to them. If they've seen that play, fair enough, and they can defend against it. I know I'm telegraphing it a turn ahead of time, but, like, I've got the Buffer Drive out. They can see that I can contaminate. I think that their HQ is getting a little bit ugly, and that's why they've just done what they've just done. It's also possible, like, the psychological effect of
repeated Buffer Drives.
Of trashing cards is quite high.
Yes.
Like, Corpse will do irrational things to prevent... Like, it's quite possible they've just got the win on this board state. Yeah, that's correct.
Spin Doctor.
Yeah, Spin Doctor.
What's the play with Spin Doctor?
They have put their agendas into archives.
Ah. Okay. I would be minded to make them fire it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Except there's a virus in here. Oh, but it doesn't matter that much.
It's like, the imp counters though, right?
Yeah.
Do we get the Audrey counter? Oh no, we can't trash anything from archives. That's not how it works, is it?
I think as well they can fire Spin Doctor after we commit to access, which is a shame.
I'm trying to remember the priority video.
I'm a jack out.
Yeah. Feels bad.
It does feel bad. There's no I should have thought about that first. Okay, like, it's absolutely fine that we do it like that then.
What? Explain your thinking?
because they res the Spin Doctor immediately next turn. Like the fact that we jacked out rather than wasting our imp counters is a good thing.
Yeah. So Audacity's gone back in and Hedge Fund. So did they trash the Audacity from hand because they were so flooded and now they want it back in R&D? Is that the read there?
We trashed the Audacity from hand
Okay.
a few times today.
I missed that.
I suspect this is a win this turn or lose type situation, which is fine.
The Spin Doctor play suggests that they don't have they still have plenty of agendas in hand. Okay, but that's install advance. Will there be another advance?
I think they're leaving us an action window, but we have no action available.
Okay. What action would we have?
Like if we had some way of installing a clock right now, but we don't.
Right.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
I think they are just like when you play a deck like this that's doing a bunch of fast advance. I mean, to be honest, I don't think we can get into that server. Like, I think we just can't get into that server.
Not with 4 actions and 5 credits to our name.
I mean, actually, yeah. If we've got, okay, we can get into that server. We've got money this time round.
Yeah. So we run once. Audrey through the border control. How though? That's the issue, isn't it? How do we go through the border control the first time?
We use buffer drive to get contaminate back again.
Yeah.
And we
or the other botulus in hand, right? No, because we do it with memory.
Well, also, like, we don't particularly want to put a botulus on something that's going to get trashed.
Good point. Well made.
But you're right. Like, we do have a memory issue. If we had a bit more money, I would be and slightly different. So the moment we've got Leech, Paladin, Blamey, Botulus, Miss Bones, and we've got a Carnivore in hand. But Carnivore is so absurdly expensive to install that even in this situation where it's like, well, we need the memory.
Yeah. Okay, there's the Audacity.
Yeah, there's the Audacity. And presumably they're about to score it. Okay.
They're looking for Seamless, right?
So
what just happened here? They trashed the board and control anyway.
Yeah, with Azef Protocol.
Okay, yeah.
And they've also trashed everything they had in hand.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Go
through. Okay, go through trash the Managarm with Imp.
Or just money.
And then run, or just money, I mean, whichever you think best, and then run Archives.
Yeah, you're right, trash it with Imp.
Yeah, use the Imp counter to get rid of that Managarm, and then at least that puts a dent in their scoring on remote, right?
Yeah. Do we spend the clicks, or do we pay 5, do you think, to go through Managarm? I think we spend the clicks.
I would be minded to spend the clicks. Yeah.
I forgot they've got Full McCree. Oh, they've not.
How much does Full McCree? What's the res cost for Full McCree?
That's a good question. Maybe it's 3. Maybe they can't res
Yeah.
it.
Possible.
I don't believe they had 7 cards in hand, none of which were.
They thought for a long time
You know what?
before using that audacity. I think it's probably worth going to see what's what.
I really like our virus tokens though. Like whatever they get in hand next turn, we can go and trash it, and we can do that for a while
Mhm.
because of Friday Chip. We can like basically do it forever,
Yeah.
like almost. Actually, I might even spend. Money's the issue, so I'm going to install Paladin Play Me for like. Like, I think there are probably agendas and archives. I don't think the game is an archives. I think there might be like. I don't think there's 6 points of agenda. Sorry,
It would
5
be
points of agendas there.
it would be extremely irresponsible play of them to have put that many agenda points in there whilst not winning themselves a game. Like the only reason you do that is because you were about to score a 3-pointer, not a 2-pointer.
Where do I put my Friday Chip? I think I want to put it on Imp, don't I? Or do I want to create a situation where I can go into R&D this time? I do want to create a situation where I can go into R&D.
I reckon R&D. I reckon R&D.
So we could be in a shit situation where, like, yeah, for fuck's sake, that is an incredibly lucky draw for them. That is an obscenely lucky draw. 1 in 15 off the top of the deck.
Yeah.
But at least they're all gone now. They've only put 1 unseen card into R&D.
Well, that I guess would be the agenda that they want to score.
Yeah.
I could almost imagine them leaving a 2-pointer in there and putting a 1-pointer into R&D. Given our relative numbers of agenda points. But that said, you wouldn't put Audacity, you wouldn't shuffle Audacity back in if you were planning to score.
Will you?
Tiny agenda.
They want to draw. They want to draw an Audacity, and they want to draw any agenda, and then they want to win.
Yeah.
But like the fact they've done that. All right, running HQ.
Yeah.
So I think somehow I didn't spend a virus token.
That's odd. Should have been 2, shouldn't it? To get through a 4 strength sandstone. Unless I missed something. Oh, you didn't spend a virus token to break the subroutines. Yeah, that does seem like an oversight, doesn't it?
I actually can't remember how many it was now. Like they finally res that for McCree.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Nice. Okay. Well, that would have been the winning agenda, so that was good still.
Yeah.
Archives is now unprotected, so if we find ourselves in a situation where we have no virus counters, we can check it to keep them honest.
Yeah. It's 2 cards to get into HQ. Because I can take the damage off Formicry, right?
Then it's 3 cards, right?
No, yeah, it's 3 cards. Sorry, I thought it was 1 damage.
Yeah.
I think Formicry creates so many annoying little situations. It's not a card that I enjoy.
What's in hand, Jessica?
Sorry, I've not been saying, have I? Contaminate, Fermenter, and Imp. So like nothing that's terribly useful.
Contaminate is a useful card.
But it's not useful on this board state at all.
Oh, because you need to have 0 ES when they're empty.
So I can get into R&D for... I can't get into R&D.
What does that take? So that's 1 card and a virus counter gets through half run, and then...
So I can get into R&D, but I would lose all of my program.
Yeah. Not ideal.
So I won't be doing that. Like, there's every chance they've got the win in hand, is the thing.
If well, I mean, 3 cards gets into HQ.
Unless they res whatever this is on the outside. When did they... Oh, yeah.
They might be able to do that. It might also cost more than 3 to res.
Yeah.
Paladin needs to have something spending on it before the end of the turn.
I mean, that's kind of the least of our worries. Our worry is they're about to like win.
Yeah.
I think we go for an access off HQ or R&D, and they really didn't want us on HQ. Okay, they really didn't want us on HQ. So let's go to HQ.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, the worst comes to worst, we trash something out of there.
Okay, they've got no money now, which is good. I'm not sure where that really gets us. Yeah, I think drawing cards is it, isn't it?
Shall we run archives now?
Yes, why not?
Like, we're not losing very much from doing it.
And being able to use the contaminate next turn.
Yeah, being able to use contaminate next turn
means that can get into HQ probably.
Yeah. Like, I think we do install an imp next turn, so it's a question of like whether we want to trash this. Do you want to trash this solidarity badge?
Well, how about the empty imp? How about the empty imp if we've got another one in hand?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
So they just clicked 3 times. That was their play.
Yeah, they've done like 1, 2, 3. Oh fuck, we can't get in.
No.
Dave.
Oh, really?
No, because of Sandstone being like that.
Oh, did they purge and repower it?
No, because
Oh,
like
fucking
Sandstone
Mavarus.
is. So we Mavirused. We
And
were like, do
that
you remember we were like,
yeah,
well, there has to be something in archives.
we Mavarus, which has put Sandstone back up to 6 strength.
Yeah.
This game's really complicated, Jessica. There's a lot of things to think about. It's hard.
Yeah. Like, we could win this turn, but otherwise I think we lose this turn.
Yeah. I'm going to say that I think we need more twinnings in this deck.
We have not at any point. Okay, no, this is the very first turn the entire game where we would have fired the twinning. If we'd had it installed turn 1, it wouldn't have gained a counter until just now, because we've just made Paladin play Move Fire.
Fair.
I think if we were going to... I'll tell you what does... So Friday Chip fires off Stargate is an interesting thing to know. They've probably got an Audacity in hand, haven't they? Shall we just run our R&D again?
Yeah,
Like,
I reckon so.
like, if at some point we are doing an absolute Hail Mary run, we can just...
Let Stavka fire.
Yeah,
What was the cards? The card in R&D?
A former cream.
Okay. We're kind of waiting around for them to have it, aren't we, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they don't, to be honest.
I think we're playing
it's
just well enough to
possible.
deny them the win without really...
Yeah.
yeah. Without really be able to pull something out of the bag ourselves.
Yeah, they're gonna put the... Either they've got it, or they put the Full McCree on archives.
Yes, that would make sense.
Okay, they've extracted a card. Yuck.
Managon.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
is disgusting. But
so-
again, they don't really feel they're confident to close this game out, which is... It obviously looks less happy from their end of the table than we imagine it does from ours.
Like, my read on this...
Mm-hmm.
So the problem here is they are missing one of their 2 combo pieces, right?
Because we keep trashing their audacities.
Yes, we keep trashing their audacities.
And they have set fire to the remote server quite comprehensively as well.
Like, a thing that we could do that would be quite a funny thing to do would be to go and trash this Skunk Works.
I think
do that.
I think we should. Why not? It's an annoying card. It's just it drains us. Can we get in there though?
So
with one or
no is the answer. We cannot get in there. Right, what we can do is... That's a Full McCree on archives, and they want to use Full McCree to make us do Managon Skunk Works twice. It's like a little weird thing with the card where you can make the person approach Malagom Skunkworks twice.
Then
That's
fire
the thing they've been trying to do.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one card in hand?
Mistbones.
Yeah. We want to be drawing, I think.
So I have a way that we could trash this Managarm without having to approach it twice. Which I just think would be a funny thing to do, because it's the one thing they've been trying to do with this deck the entire game. And we can deny them that pleasure, if nothing else.
Yeah. Is it pinhole threading?
It's buffer driving out the pinhole threading and going for archives. And then potentially forcing them to res their Formicry in a place where they don't want to res it. Shall we do it?
Yeah, definitely. The other good thing about it is that trashing it will give us another Audrey counter, which means we can go back into R&D. Yeah. What happens to the res the Formicry here?
We can
end the run.
Drew enough cards that we could take the we just either take the damage or we break it. Like, we have multiple things we can do.
Okay. So it's no good for them to res it.
We are relatively happy for them to do this. I think we take the damage.
What are the cards in hand?
An Imp, unfortunately, and a Mistbones that we don't care about.
Ho.
Do we?
I enjoyed
we
that.
Now, like, if nothing else, we've denied them the option to do the thing that they've been desperate to do for the entire game, which is fundamentally a funny thing to happen. I say we run R&D. They are going to res Formicry,
which we
and we are going to say,
"Yeah, let's do it."
We can't just go through it. We can't just go through it because it's 2 damage. It's not 1.
We've got 3. Oh, we're going to be discarding cards because of Audrey, aren't we?
Yeah. We would need 4 cards to get into this server. So we just draw and hope they don't draw it. And we will trash as in play moon, I guess. Or we need, like, this is all down to a race of who finds the cards first. We've got Steelskin Scarrings in this deck, and we've not drawn any of them, I don't think. Right.
That's true. Okay. That is a bad piece of luck, right?
Yeah, we've got 3 of them and we've drawn 0.
Yeah.
And, like, it says stack 14, but don't forget we've, like, put a load of cards back on the bottom of the deck, so we've actually, like, seen more cards than that. So you have seen literally 0.
Literally 0. Not the twinning either.
Yeah, no twinning either.
Yowza.
Okay, that's a little bit of luck. We can put this Botulus on that half run.
Okay.
And then we need 1, 2, 3, 4 cards to get in, so we can get in once.
The Botulus wants to go on the half run, not the Stavka?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we can break both subroutines on Stavka with a single Audrey token, whereas it would take...
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think this mystery piece of ice is?
I don't know.
The last border control?
It could be.
Yeah. What did we draw?
We drew a Steelskin Scarring finally.
Right.
Yeah, it's the last border control.
So what does this mean? It's just irritating, isn't it?
Yeah, like, do we even try and do it this turn? Like, we do, but it's just like we are going to have to go 1, 2, 3. Oh, I really, really wish I hadn't taken Ice Carver out of this deck.
I was just thinking exactly that, because that would be beautiful for border control, wouldn't it?
So 1, 2, 3.
There's 6 cards in R&D and 5 in HQ.
Yeah, I know. It's a real slog at the end of this game.
It is. I feel bad about how long it's taking.
Yeah, they're going to force us to...
Should we have gone through HQ then instead? That's my question.
We couldn't get into HQ.
Okay. Oh, because we didn't have enough counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we can... Actually, we can get in here again once.
Tell me your thinking.
There's only one bit of ice that actually ends the run here.
You're right. And Botchless is on it.
Yeah. But we're also out of, like, our good trick.
Which
If
of
we
the
could
tricks
get
is that?
in... which is to, like, install a buffer drive and get back the card that we want.
Yeah. What did they just do?
They had obviously discarded the wrong card, so they're like switched around the cards they discarded.
Gotcha.
If we could get in twice instead of once, I think we could win this game.
To HQ?
To R&D.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't need to steal enough agendas. We've just got to stop them scoring out.
Of course.
Both of our contaminates are in the bin. Our rejig is in the bin. We have a buffer drive, but we don't have enough tokens, I don't think. Like, I don't think we can do it, and I think we're so frustratingly close to being able to do it.
Can we contaminate the Botulus?
We haven't got a contaminate.
Oh, right.
They're both gone. They're both in the bin.
Can we buffer drive contaminate the Botulus?
I'll tell you what, we've got one more Botulus in this deck.
Okay.
If we drew it...
Yeah.
we could get in twice. Or at least, no, I don't think we could. Yeah, we could. We could get in twice if we drew it.
So of these 9 cards, 2 of them should be Stillskin Scarrings, right?
Yeah.
I think that gives us relatively good odds to...
I'm going to draw.
Yeah.
No, we draw it. We drew a leech, which is actually quite a good card in this matchup, but we also just don't have the memory for it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the loss. I think we lose. So we have no way of breaking Stavka. So we have no way of trashing the top card of R&D, even if it's Audacity. Actually, yes, we do.
What's that?
We're going to install Carnival.
Yes! Yes!
And there is an incredibly small chance that we trash the Audacity that they need off the top, and then they can't win. And that would be, like, it's so unlikely. Like...
I feel if nothing else, we have created an interesting game for the stream.
Yes, I think so. I would also say this is the kind of game that if I'd not been streaming it, I would have stopped playing it some time ago. Like, I find format interactions to be like another like very tiresome. Go ahead. Trash it. Trash it all. I'm trying to think if I'd seen this play before. Like, the Audacity is almost certainly in hand, right? Like, they've got to be playing 3 Audacities.
They should be. I mean, no, they can't be. There's only one in archives. They must only be playing 2 in that case. Because surely they must have an agenda in hand. Unless both of these cards are agendas.
That's a shame. So it's a Project Atlas.
Uh-huh.
So
now they've got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other possibility. I forgot that they might have hostile takeover.
What was the last card they drew?
I don't know what the last card they drew was. But, like, bloody hell.
That was a bit of an ordeal, wasn't
it? Yeah. Yeah, it was. Like, I didn't hate it.
That was it. It was the hostile. Jessica, if we had a single twin encounter, we would have denied them the game and decked them out.
I've heard you.
Oh no, that's not true. 4 in HQ, 0 in archives.
Yeah, you're right. We would have.
We could have stolen it and decked them out on that final turn, couldn't we?
Also, though, if we'd installed Stargate like 4 turns earlier.
Yep, that also might have been good.
Yeah. I can see the reasoning behind having a second twinning. I also think it's an expensive card that, like, I don't think that there was a point during this game where I felt like we had the tempo in our favor to install a 3-cost card that does not give an immediate benefit.
Yeah. You didn't put down Miss Bones at all.
It would have.
I mean, the problem we had was that we were not getting the engine going on Audrey with enough counters, and that's partly because of Mavaris, isn't it? Mavaris fired twice. They didn't purge, I don't think, this game.
No, they purged with Mavaris one time. Mavaris did a lot of good work for them.
Yeah, it really did.
Like this, it's not surprising that this deck has got 2 Mavaris in it because it's a Stavka half-run deck, and Mavaris is one of the good ways of making Stavka half-run fire. Stavka half-run. To be honest, this deck is like several different very annoying things you can do.
Yeah,
like it's and Managam Skunkworks for McCree.
Yeah.
Like those are two. Like those are 2 things that will win a lot of games by making your opponent concede.
Yeah.
It's got some like entirely fair stuff in it, like envelopment, border control, but like this can make like nasty little servers. It's just like I wouldn't mind playing this deck. I could see myself playing this and getting quite good at it. And this something like this might be the right deck for me to play against Hermes, because a lot of the time I'm gonna like be bringing stuff out already rezzed.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, this game lasted 24 turns.
It's a lot. 67 minutes. On that note, I really need to go and help my partner prep for her interview tomorrow.
Yes, please do.
I would love to chat more about this deck and what we do. But yeah, I should just bail. This has been loads of fun. We haven't really spoken about when we're going to stream next, but it might well be next Thursday.
Yeah, so I've been keeping this coming Thursday free on the assumption that we would be streaming. Let me know if that's not the case, and I'll stop keeping it free. And
I think it will be. Let's say it will, unless you hear otherwise. Cool. Okay, This has been loads of fun. Thank you and good night.